Hey, what's up, y'all? Y'all know my slogan. I don't know it all, but I know what I've been through. Now, before we get into this video, make sure you check us out on Patreon at www.patreon.com/hookah_anonymous. You guys been telling us to create one for the longest, so we recently created a community where we will upload videos that we can't share on YouTube due to their guidelines. We'll also be dropping the latest to there first, behind the scenes information that you wouldn't find anywhere else on our socials. So make sure you become a member, and after you do that, head over to our official Instagram page at hookah_anonymous and follow us there. Now without further ado, let's get into what you guys came here to see. Now, remember when we told y'all that when we seen Durk's trial get pushed back for the second time, don't be surprised if some weird stuff start happening within the case. And don't be surprised if some miraculous way, Durk might have a chance of actually coming home some way, somehow. Not to mention the laws in Los Angeles is just different within itself, because just yesterday we've covered the breaking news within the case of singer D4VD and Celeste Rivas, where her deceased body was literally found in the trunk of his Tesla. Her body was wrapped in plastic and she was last seen around him and his affiliates, and the vehicle was parked abandoned not too far away from the residence that he was staying at. Somehow, someway, LAPD is saying that no foul play was involved and they haven't ruled her death as a murder. To make matters even more strange, she's been found deceased in September. Despite them taking long to hand over her body to her family, the medical examiner still found the cause of death neither. So when it comes to Los Angeles as a whole and the law system, I don't know what's going on, but something is a little fishy over there. Now when it comes to the update in Little Durk's case, we will actually find out a few things. Durk has filed a motion before to be able to identify the jurors in the case, so they wouldn't be able to be anonymous. Now I told y'all I agree and disagree with him wanting to identify the jurors, because out of fairness, you would like to know that there's actual people being used and you're not just getting railroaded by the court system. However, I also understand the courts, because due to the type of charges he's being charged with, along with his history, it makes sense as to why they would want to keep the jurors anonymous due to their safety. Now some may say they're going a little too extreme and trying to act like Durk is El Chapo or something, but that'll be up to your discretion. But aside from that, we're just also finding out that the witness in Durk's trial keeps on changing stories, which in return could end up making whatever he say no longer credible, which may result in a mistrial. Now if y'all remember, YSL Woody have done this recently within the case of the RICO concerning Young Thug and the rest of the YSL affiliates, where he was set to cooperate, but when he actually got on the stand, he kept changing his stories around, making him less and less credible and no use for the prosecutors. Some say he purposely did it as a secondhand thought to not snitch, while some say it don't matter. Once you agree to snitch, you a snitch. Now I'll let y'all make of that what you will. Now we're going to get into the latest document that have come out concerning Little Durk's trial, and the witness PW1 changing their story, and what this may mean for the future of the trial. Make sure y'all hit that thumbs up button so we can get this video into the algorithm, and if you not subscribed to the platform already, make sure you do so now. Let's get into it. Now in the document provided by Durk all day, it'll state, quote, "If that doubt eliminating discovery existed, the government would certainly have cited to it in its opposition. Yet it does not. Indeed, nowhere does the discovery set forth anything resembling a fixed or coherent theory of the time, place, and circumstances of the bounty allegations or the at the direction of allegations. On the contrary, the discovery reveals government witnesses who are consistently changing their stories. PW1, for example, has asserted that there was no bounty at all, that he did not agree to MTB for monetary gain, and that he did so under duress. But as one might expect in a murder for hire prosecution predicated on the existence of a bounty, he rises to meet the occasion. In one government proffer session, PW1 recounts how Mr. Wilson allegedly stayed behind in Los Angeles after the other participants flew out in order to collect the bounty money for distribution. PW1's story is, however, flatly contradicted by the objective evidence. The government's realization that PW1 lied here is likely why, between the first superseding indictment and the second superseding indictment, it deleted language alleging that Mr. Wilson paid out the bounty after SR's homicide. When the government's witnesses are constantly changing their stories about crucial facts, as the discovery catalogs here, Mr. Banks' defense must take aim at a moving target. This is fundamentally unfair. So to break it all down in layman's terms, here's what the document is alleging. It states that the witness has been caught in a lie and contradicted himself more than once, contrary to the evidence that they have on file. First he said there was a bounty, then he said it wasn't. And if there wasn't a bounty, basically the main charge of murder for hire would be non-existent because the hire part wouldn't exist if no money was ever given. Which brings us to the next point. They're saying that at no given time have it been proven that there was any money distributed to anybody for the shooting. In a murder for hire case, they must prove a few things in order for it to stick. First, you at least have to prove that a bounty was set. If so, then you also must prove how much it was and prove that it was for a fact given to the suspects that you claim took the money to carry out the crime. Now, I don't know if they have phone calls, text messages proving anything, and maybe they're waiting to present it at trial, but as of right now, we still haven't heard of any proper amount or how or when it was distributed to the guys they claim were selected to carry out the bounty. So yes, they have a motive. Yes, they may have other evidence pertaining to the case, but they must at least prove that money was distributed for the shooting that resulted in the loss of Little Pat. Now, as y'all know, it's not what you know in court, it's all about what you can prove. Now, another thing they've highlighted within the document is that PW1 claimed first that Wilson, aka OTF Didi, stayed back in Los Angeles to collect the bounty money while the other participants flew out. But then within the first and second superseding indictment, it claims that OTF Didi was the one that distributed the money out after the shooting, and it was deleted out of the first and second indictment. So it's like, which one is it? Did he distribute the money after the hit was done, or did he stay back to collect it after it was done? So with small technicalities such as that one, that just may work in the favor of Little Durk when it comes to the trial, that can possibly lead to a mistrial on his behalf. If not a mistrial, it's definitely enough to start getting charges lowered where it don't carry much time, because clearly the murder for hire part cannot be proven. However, we know how the feds play. Someone is going to have to take the rap for something, right? Because the feds aren't just going to let all the evidence that they have against them go, especially knowing that a homicide was committed despite everything else. Now, moving on to the witness tampering documents and feds replying to Durk's motion to dismiss an unanimous jury, where the documents was a quote, "Juror confidentiality is just one of the security measures this court should adopt to ensure a fair trial, prevent improper attempts to influence jurors, and to otherwise protect the judicial process. Defendants do not meaningfully grapple with the facts that support anonymity, the violent history of defendants and their associates, OTF associates' willingness to use violence against OTFs and defendants' banks' rivals, the witness tampering that has already occurred in this case, and the defendant bank's contempt for the judicial process, including his obstruction of an investigation into his clandestine, unmonitored jail communications. Instead, defendants brushed them aside as speculation and mischaracterization and minimized the consequences of defendants' own words and conduct, affiliation with organized crime, and that OTF is a record label and professional entity, nothing more. The government does not dispute that OTF is, in part, a legitimate business operation, but OTF's defendant bank's public success does not contradict or undermine the material facts showing the organized nature of certain OTF associates' criminality and violence. Indeed, defendants do not contest that two shooters charged with murder in the Northern District of Illinois discussed payment from OTF and defendant banks following the execution of a Chicago gang member. That OTF associates, including the defendants in this case, act as defendant bank's direction and with his funds to hunt and exact revenge on OTF rivals, and that defendants and other OTF associates have violent criminal histories. Rather, defendants claim that these facts are too intended to demonstrate a risk to juror safety and impartiality. As explained in the government's motion, these facts demonstrate the capacity of defendants, OTF associates, and or their supporters to intimidate those who may pose a risk to the liberty of OTF members, including jurors who would render a verdict in this case. Second, defendants proclaim that there is no risk of interference with witnesses in the judicial process. but defendants failed to mention the actual interference that has occurred in this case. OTF associates, threats to, and intimidation of suspected government witnesses, and defendant Banks' contempt for the judicial process as demonstrated by his obstructive conduct at the MDC. Instead of analyzing these tangible facts, defendant Banks claims that his explicit disdain for cooperating witnesses, "I hate all rats," is immaterial to the court's analysis since unrelated public figures have purportedly made similar comments. But the totality of facts presented by the government show that defendants and their OTF associates have demonstrated their willingness and compatibility to interfere with this trial and impair the jury's fact-finding mission. Now, all this is Durk's past coming back to haunt him. From the lyrics to the accusations against him in other cases, along with his affiliates in their past that are within this case as well. And it's hard to say that OTF isn't a criminal organization when in the past, OTF members, including Durk, have been involved in a case in Atlanta where they basically almost took somebody's life there. They say what you do in the past can sometimes come back to bite you in the worst way, and that's what's happening here. Like we stated earlier, basically the court is saying that Durk have already been caught in MDC breaking the rules more than once while in federal facility and already been accused of witness tampering. So with his charges and criminal history and influence to get others to carry out crimes for him, they rather protect the safety of the jurors by staying anonymous. And can't blame them. This is just one of those situations where honestly both parties are right, but more than likely the courts are gonna side with the prosecutor. Now it should be interesting to see what comes out of this case now that we're seeing everything that unfolds. Not to mention, like I always tell y'all, when it comes time for the actual trial, they always present evidence that you never even knew they had. So they may be looking at what they have now as not much, but I'm sure when time comes for trial, they're gonna show us some crazy evidence that maybe is the reason why they're going so hard. We may not know, but they do. Y'all jump in the comments, let me know what y'all think about this. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell so you're notified every time we drop new content. And remember,